I am so excited to finally share what we have been working on behind the scenes for what feels like 87 years, but isn't because we just move fast around here. But y'all, I have never said this is a must attend event ever before in my life. And I could not believe it more about the thing that just got announced.
Yeah, if you guys have been paying attention to our social channels and emails, then you should have heard that we just announced our first virtual conference. We've done online summits before, and this is not the
No,
same
no.
thing. It's going to have similarities, it's going to have some overlaps, but I think you will be shocked if you've previously attended one of our summits, just how incredibly different this experience is going to
Mhm.
be. And the part I'm probably the most excited about is that the entire thing will be
Yes,
live.
yes, it is very cool. The entire thing will be live, and it's also like the actual conference is one day. It's one day. It's 4 sessions, it's one day. And so we know y'all are busy. You are like up to your
Yeah.
eyeballs in client work and deadlines and responding to people in your inbox and like trying to survive over there. And so I understand that it might seem like a lot to carve time out of your already busy schedule to come to something like this. But I do want to address that later on in this episode about the value of attending and truly what you're going to unlock by making the time, and a little bit of our own results of when we've done the same thing. Because trust me, there have been times where we know we need to do something and we've kind of like put it off or not built it in or gave it like a 30-minute window when it needed like a 3 hour window or a 2 day window. And when we finally like,
Mhm.
okay, no, actually the reward by doing this, learning this or implementing this is far too great for us to continue to ignore. And I honestly think that that's where a lot of high level industry experts, service providers, and consultants are sitting right now. And I promise you, this is magic. Okay, so let's go over the
Oh,
details so
so
people who are
magic.
like, yes, I'm ready, can just already like hear what's happening and go grab a ticket.
Yeah, so we are so excited to announce the Freedom Conference. This particular conference is called the Freedom Era. We're going to help you reignite your creative consulting business before burnout defines you. You can grab your ticket at bossproject.com/conference. And your 1 day virtual ticket is $47. We are stoked because we're going to be doing this live, and you have the opportunity to really dive in with other people who are service providers, creative consultants, industry experts, and really get an opportunity to learn. So it's going to be on Tuesday, March
Mhm.
29th, for the 1 day virtual conference. Now, we do have a special VIP day, bonus day on March 30th for anyone who applies and gets accepted to join us for VIP day. It doesn't cost anything extra to attend VIP day, but you do have to
Mhm.
apply. So once you grab your conference ticket at bossproject.com/conference, you can go to bossproject.com/VIP and go ahead and submit your application in advance so we can get you pre-approved for our March 30th events that are going to unfold. But let's talk about the event
Well, and real quick, I
schedule.
want to just be clear. So the ticket, you when you grab your ticket for the 1 day event, you do get 7 days access to those trainings. Now, it is critical, crucial, life-changing, epic to attend live. And I say that not just for the material that we're going to cover, but we recently were in a live conference, a panel session where we were asked to come speak and share about some of our high-level CEO lessons and mistakes and big kind of mindset shifts from our own coach. And we were there for our panel, we were live, and the energy that happens in the room, the connections that build, the literal networking and camaraderie of community that happens because you're there witnessing things in real time with yourself and other people and getting to share in the chat like what's going on in your brain and quick questions that you have for the people who are speaking and really wanting to dive in a little bit further. I think one of the things that makes our conference different than maybe anything you've honestly ever attended in your life is that it's not just a presentation of us or speakers speaking at you and you sitting there taking notes and you're like, cool,
No.
that was neat. And I'm learning some stuff and you go implement independently much later on your own. This is a community experience where, yes, we are sharing. We definitely
Yes.
have things to share and slides and stuff for you to look at and action steps and all of those things. But as the questions and thoughts and conversations are happening in the chat, we stop and like talk about those and dive deeper and answer questions and really paint pictures in a different way to help you all where you're at right now. So the conversation that's happening is literally shifted by the conversations that are happening in the chat, by the people who choose to show up and speak up and say things. So you get to fully customize this experience for you if you get your butt in your seat and you come and hang out with us on the 29th.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are going to have 4 presentations the during the 1-day virtual conference on March 29th, and we're going to kick the day off with a keynote from myself and Emily. We're going to be talking about the freedom era and specifically how to position yourself for this unprecedented shift. I feel like we've hinted at it on the podcast and talked about how things are changing, especially for this industry, and we really want to set you up for success as consumers move into this new era, as people really are clear on their priorities and what they want and how they spend their time. And we want to give you some golden nuggets to really have you thinking about how you can show up and take the most advantage of what's already naturally
Mm-hmm.
happening in the economy.
Well,
And this isn't just a shift that's
right.
happening here. It's a global shift, and I'm really
Well, and
excited
I
about
think,
that.
the conversation tends to be, I wrote about this recently and I wanted to kind of touch on it here a little bit. I feel like the conversation for, doing business differently or being a high level, business owner and perform really well, typically the conversations around that are honestly like pretty janky and judgmental and privileged and not really taking into account the unique circumstances that are in your life for whatever reason that they might be, right? And honestly, we kind of got sick of hearing people just say the only way for you to make more and work less is to get up earlier and meditate and journal and just live this weird, like that actually doesn't help me. Like that wasn't actually actionable. That didn't actually change my business structure. That didn't revitalize the team
Sure.
that I have. That didn't actually give me anything. And while I do think like obviously mindset work and headspace and taking care of yourself are important. We talk about that a lot, right? But I just think doing that in a way that's like actually effective is what people are really craving. And I'm not saying we're the only ones who are talking about it at all, but I feel like we do provide a very unique and not really talked about lens on this conversation that honors the alignment that you want to have in your life and business and shows you here's what needs to happen in your business for you to actually get to enjoy those things, have those things every single day in your life. It's not the other way around. It's not what you change in your life in order to get the business that you want. It's what you change and structure in your business in order for your life to live first, truly.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Couldn't agree more. Now, as we kind of shift into the next presentation, you're going to have the opportunity to hear from one of our clients, Bonnie, who had such an incredible shift. And I think this is really going to be so eye opening for people. Everyone's talking about needing new leads and going out and finding new people
What are you
and
doing for
like
lead generation?
constantly work. Yeah, how are you marketing yourself? All the things. And we are going to be talking with Bonnie about how she increased her client contracts by 60K, $60,000 in 6 weeks without new leads. And I am just so excited for you to be able to hear her perspective
Mhm.
on what it looks like to have real conversations with existing clients, especially when you're underpricing
Mhm.
yourself, and how you can confidently go into these conversations and ultimately renegotiate. I don't want to give too much away, and so you definitely need to be
Mhm.
there. But if you're like, how the hell would you do that? Then I'm just saying you probably need to
Yep.
grab your ticket, because we're going to be really diving into the details of what it looks like to set yourself up for
Yep.
success. And it doesn't always mean chasing. In fact, we
Mhm.
can attract, and we can be magnetic, and we can
Nurture.
um, be really clear on
Mhm.
our client communication, and it can be super
Yep.
effective.
So the next chat we're going to do is a panel with a handful of our clients and us, because we also know that pricing strategies for your consulting business, your high level expert service based business, is not a one size fits all. It just isn't. There are some of you who have some really giant contracts with companies, some of you who have recurring clients, and you're not going to charge $60,000 a month for something like that, and everything in between. And so we wanted to bring the perspective of the framework, what we teach, how it applies to so many different ways that you're serving clients, and hear from the people that we're actually working with and helping set this up in their business, share how it has been custom for them and how it does, you know, it is unique for every single goal, for every single type of client, and for business in this industry. And I think it's really cool how you can make magic happen no matter what type of way you want to show up. Because I think that this is the thing that the pitfall that most people fall into, where it's like, okay, well, in order to make that much money or work with those kind of clients or charge that much or whatever, I have to then do list all of these things that like feel icky or out of alignment or whatever it might be. You've told yourself this story that you're going to have to run a business and serve clients in a way that doesn't feel fun for you. And so you think that that is out of your reach when it just isn't. And I think if we really start to look at, okay, here's the framework and here's what I know works, and now here's how I can customize it to me and my needs and still see really cool results, I think that's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah. I love talking about premium pricing strategies. And I think what's so cool about it is we are not the coaches that will tell you, you have to charge
No,
X, you have to do this. The only way to get there is to blah, blah, blah. I hate the one size fits all approach. It is not effective. It doesn't take into account your current clientele, your region, your unique circumstances, any of that. And so we have a very unique approach to pricing, but it's not
no.
emotional. It is very tactical, it's strategic, it's calculated, and it's on purpose. And I can't wait to talk more about how it can come out in so many different
Mhm.
varieties on the other end. And I think you're going to be really surprised with how this might be able to look and work for you in a way that really takes into account what you're striving towards and what you're working towards and what you just simply have going on. Because if you want to live in a beach house, off the ocean, and you have three kids in private school, you have different circumstances than someone who's from Iowa who's renovating a house from the 1930s. Like you just have different things going on, and everyone is just giving you blanket advice and not really taking into account all the other things that are
Mhm.
going on in your
So
life.
that'll be a really good panel. That's the session title for that one, is what every business consultant needs to know about premium pricing strategies in 2022. And I really think that that's going to unlock some new ways for you to go about doing business. Now, this last one, I think if y'all like our ranty, polarizing conversations here, this is the one you're definitely going to want to make sure you attend live, because we're covering the 7 red flags and toxic behaviors happening inside your small business that need your immediate attention. And this one, I know no one is talking about at all.
Oh, 1,000%. No one is. And so many of you think that it's not happening to you. And it,
It
it
is.
is. And it's
Yeah.
okay. And we're not judging
Nope.
you. We have made many of the same mistakes. And we are letting you know that it is okay. And we're going to talk about what it looks like to rectify some of these things so that you can create a psychologically safe place to work, so that you can build a business that's in alignment with your personal needs, so that you can treat other people as humans and do it in a way that doesn't discriminate. Like, there's so many things that I want to get into, and I can't wait to untap this knowledge
Mhm.
for you, because I think it's really going to give you an idea of what it looks like to truly build a business life first, that isn't doing it in a way that's actually detrimental to so many other
For
people. And
yourself.
so I think a lot of you have great intentions, and the way it's coming off is not great. And so we want to make sure we're giving you a framework to really ultimately be
Mhm.
successful. And when we wrap up,
Excuse
excuse me.
you. I would finish your thought for you, but I don't know where you're
So as
going.
Yeah, no, for sure. As we wrap up those 4 presentations, we're going to be inviting you to join us for a bonus VIP
Mhm.
day, and to get your extension of your ticket. You'll grab your normal ticket, and then you'll want to apply. For the bonus VIP day, which will be included at no
Yeah.
extra charge should you be accepted. So you can join us for that bonus VIP day, and we are going to be knocking your socks
Mhm.
off on day 2. And I am excited because while we've taught this live once, um, it's not quite the
Right.
same, because we've made some updates to this training. And so even if you've heard us talk about this before, I think you're going to be surprised at some of the updates. But we're going to be diving into our advanced training that really ultimately helps you build a 3-part framework to ultimately double your income while working 20 hours a week or
Mhm.
less. And this is all without relying on social media, fancy opt ins, or any ad spend. And we really cannot wait to dive into this training
Mhm.
with you.
Now, in order to get that training, so Abby's talked about how you apply, and I just wanted to kind of walk you through what that process looks like so you don't feel intimidated by it, and it's super fun. So you'll head to bossproject.com/VIP to apply, get pre-approved for that training after you snag your ticket. And then the application takes about 10 to 12 minutes to fill out. And I know that that's like a little bit of a chunk of time, but we truly are trying to gather as much information about where you're at now and where you want to head so that we can have a conversation with you about what could this look like. Let us get the information so we can see if we're on the same page and if the framework that we've built is in alignment with where you want to go, because ultimately that's what matters the most. So after you apply, you'll hit submit. And then I want you to definitely head over to Instagram at Boss Project and DM us and say hello that you applied. It helps get your application to the top of the queue because we have a name and a face and an account to put to that application. But once you're in our DMs, you're going to get to talk to the Boss Project team and our amazing client concierge, Katie, who's going to be there to help you do the math to start to see the realistic version of what it's going to take for you to reach your goals, answer your questions about creating high touch signature service, really talking you through some of just that initial mindset kind of resistance that we all go through when we're learning something new and even
Yeah.
considering doing something different than what we've done. Because here's ultimately where you're at, right? I am super freaking proud of you for where you're at right now. And I need you to know that. You've worked really hard to build the thing that you've built, and you should be proud of that. And it's okay to want to restructure. And it's okay to know that you need to do something differently because the way that you've done this so far isn't sustainable for your health, financially, for your team, for your happiness, for whatever reason, maybe all of them. And that's okay. And I'm also really proud of you for recognizing that a shift and a change needs to happen. And you don't have to know exactly what that needs to be or look like in order to know that you need it. I think so many of us, you're freaking smart. You have so much experience. You're serving clients in a really cool way. And you're sitting here mad at yourself or disappointed in yourself that you haven't quite figured out the business side of this because you've been showing up as the industry expert and really razzle dazzling those clients. And that's what you're good at. That's your zone of genius. You don't have to know all of these other things, but what you do need to know and make the decision on is choosing to learn from people who can help you figure it out and not stay
Yeah.
drowning thinking that you're just going to learn all of these things on your own over time.
Well, here's what I want to acknowledge. You likely are extremely talented in one area of business. You either went to school for it or you spent your career in an area, and then you went out on your own and started attracting clients. And because you're so good at what you do, getting the clients in the door is not necessarily the hard
Mm-hmm.
part. The part that becomes confusing is you're either underpricing and you kind of tap out, and so you realize you can't build your business anymore without adding capacity, which means you feel like you're looking at adding team members, but is your price really the problem? And you start fighting with yourself about that. Or maybe you are charging a premium, but then you start hiring people and you don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
manage
Mm-hmm.
people. You don't know what systems you need to support a team. You don't know what it looks like behind the scenes. And while you might be really, really good at this one area of business, and ultimately you could consult on that for other businesses out there, if you are missing the behind the scenes
Yeah.
structure, you're going to be stressed. Your team's going to be stressed. You're going to be out of time, and you're going to want to
Mm-hmm.
quit. The amount of people that we've talked to that are on the verge of like shutting it all down, despite maybe already even making a
Yeah.
decent salary, it's
Yeah.
maddening to me when so much of this is just about making little
Mm-hmm.
tweaks and getting the training you need to be successful, to set up systems that are going to support your team, that are going to be reliable, that they can understand, that are going to allow you to create a consistent client
Yeah.
experience, so that one client doesn't get fantastic results and the next
Because you're
one
tired.
is like wanting to rate you
Yeah.
like shit
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Google. You know, you shouldn't have that much variability from client to client. And then, really supporting your team. I know, first of all, let me just acknowledge that no one comes out of the womb knowing how to be a
No.
manager. Like,
No. Mhm.
that's just not something that happens. And so a lot of you are going about this blind.
And we
Maybe you
typically
did spend.
learn how to not be a manager. That's really what we only know. We know how
Right.
to not be a manager because of our experiences with managers. So we know what we don't want to do.
Yes, exactly. So you had other jobs, you did other things, and you're like, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that." And in your efforts to not be all of those things, you are not necessarily doing the things that are going to be
Yeah.
helpful. You're avoiding a lot, but you're not necessarily adding the structure that's required for the success of your team long term. And especially to build a culture that's safe. And I truly, truly pride myself in, not only do our clients say this, but so does our team. We consistently get told that this is the first
Mhm.
time they've felt completely safe and completely accepted for who they are, regardless of what's happened in the past in their business, um, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their
Mhm.
sexuality. Women and femmes feel like they can come to us and be themselves and not have to hide any of that. And I can't tell you how important that is to me, that we can create a safe place for
Mhm.
CEOs to truly air some things that they're maybe not proud of, and to work on hard shit together. And then internally, I am so proud of the culture we built with our team, and it took so much
Mhm.
intention. And I'm excited to give you the roadmap for what that looks like, to build a team that is like truly on board with your mission and vision, who truly is wanting to serve your clients in the same way that you do. And while they will never have the same buy in, and they shouldn't,
Mhm.
because they don't have ownership
Mhm.
that there are ways to treat employees with kindness and treat them as human, but also respect the fact that they're living a life outside of work. I truly have not seen content like this
Mhm.
anywhere.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited about giving you the opportunity to be yourself and work through hard shit and have the support you need to build something that feels really good, something that you can be really proud of, because you're already getting amazing results for your
Yep.
clients. But you deserve to feel refreshed. You deserve to be appreciated by your team. I really want to reduce your stress. I want to reduce the time you're working in your business. I want to have systems there to support you. And that's not possible unless you're willing to listen and unless you're willing to observe some areas that you may be falling flat. And so, even if this is just an opportunity for you to do some self
Mhm.
reflection and really hear from people who are walking the walk, then this 1 or 2 days is well
Yep.
worth your time. And like Emily said, this is a do not miss
A do not
event.
miss event.
If
Attend
you
live
are
at every
a
cost.
do not miss event, if you are an industry expert, if you are working business to business, if you're a service entrepreneur, you need to be in this
Mhm.
room. We are going to be making waves and we are going to be walking the walk with you. And I can't wait for you to grab your ticket at bossproject.com/conference.